It's so hot. Let's try that again. Hello art friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alyssa and this is episode 2 of Create This Book 3. Last episode, if you haven't seen it, I worked on the front cover and a few pages inside, and today we're going to be working on 3 more pages. I really like how these turned out, so I hope you guys do too, and let's get started. So the first prompt I chose to do says create buttons. Draw buttons on this page and give them interesting functions. The first thing that came to mind when I read this was buttons on a computer, and then I thought it might be cute to create some little old-fashioned computer windows. So that's what I did here. I'm just outlining the pencil sketch with my fine liner Posca marker. As you can see, the first window says it's time to be a responsible adult, and the button options are nap and cry. Literally me every day. And the next window beneath it that I'm outlining right here is supposed to be a Microsoft Paint window, and it just has a little rainbow with clouds drawn on it. And then up at the top of the next page, I just did some little file folders, and then I made a loading bar that says loading mental breakdown. And then the last thing is a bunch of little error windows, because that's how my brain feels a lot of the time. Using alcohol markers on this extremely thin paper was quite a bold move for me. So as I keep filling this in, you'll start to notice that the alcohol marker starts bleeding out everywhere past my outline lines, and there's really nothing I can do about it. At the end, I try to clean it up a little bit with a white paint pen, but this is a little sloppy looking. So definitely should have done it on a separate paper, and you know, I really knew this was gonna happen, but I kind of just didn't care. So I'm coloring in all of the regular parts of each window with the gray. So here I am just chilling, coloring in each part of the rainbow, but then I noticed something. It was here that I realized I had completely forgotten to draw half of this line on the rainbow. So I had to go back in and redraw that. I don't know why that happens to me. I just completely abandoned certain parts of my drawing. It must be because I'm looking at it for too long or something. I love how I put a piece of plastic paper underneath to protect the page after I have already ruined it. Like, girl, it's a little too late. Here I am coloring in the little yellow file folders. And I'm coloring in this little funky flower. Doing some touch-ups with my acrylic paint marker because, like I said, the markers kind of bled everywhere. Now here I'm adding some sparkles on my rainbow. I wish I just left it like this, but my urge to outline everything in black came in, and I couldn't really, there was no coming back from this. So now the sparkles are outlined on here, and it's alright, but I really need to stop doing that. And here are the finished pages for my Create Buttons prompt. So the next prompt says create a hairstyle. Add unique hairstyles you may want to try. So I decided I would draw a bunch of different little characters to represent each of these hairstyles, because just drawing hair on the head seemed really boring and unfinished. So I gave them faces, and I also gave them all different colors of hair, and I really like how these characters came out. I looked on Pinterest for a little bit of inspiration because I'm not exactly somebody who knows how to style their hair very well. I'm kind of someone who wears their hair in the same style every day. But this was really fun to draw. This girl had a really crazy hairdo. I liked it a lot. And I think the little facial expressions I gave them are cute as well. And yeah, so I did the same thing coloring these ones in. I started with my Posca fine liner, but then afterwards I actually went in with colored pencil for these because I knew colored pencil was gonna work a little bit better than the markers did. Also, I wanna apologize for the shakiness of this footage. You'll notice there's a lot of shaking, and I know that's probably not super fun to watch, but clearly I work like an aggressive maniac when I do art and shake my table all around. The table that I use also is from Facebook Marketplace, and it's a used IKEA table, so it's not really that sturdy in the first place. But I'll make an effort to not work so psychotically next video. So here is the black outline all completed, and now it's time for the fun part, adding color. So like I said, I went in with colored pencil to color these girls in. So for the first hairstyle, I decided to draw some bubble braids because I think bubble braids are so cute. I used to always want to do them like in the early 2000s, but it never looks cute on me. It always just looks like I kind of messed up my ponytails. But anyways, this girl looks really cute with it. I gave her some very vibrant purple hair, and I got to add all this little shading on here, which was very fun. So yeah, that's the first hairstyle. So for hairstyle number 2, this is my personal favorite. Literally nothing at all. So this girl's just wearing her hair down straight. She did not put in any effort, but you know, it's a go-to. It's a classic hairstyle. Just keeping it straight and doing literally nothing to it. I kind of smudged a little bit of her forehead with the markers and colored pencils there, so just ignore that. And then that takes us to the next girl, who's got this really, really cool bright pink neon hair. And she's just got some simple pigtails with some little pieces sticking out in the front. Also kind of a 90s, 2000s hairstyle. I used to love wearing my hair in pigtails as a kid. I don't know what my obsession was with pigtails, but that was one of my favorites as a kid. I also gave this girl some bright pink eyebrows to match her bright pink hair, and of course she had to have some big old scrunchies in each pigtail. I gave her some earrings and some other extra details. So the girl on the bottom, she turned out to kind of give orange blossom vibes from Strawberry Shortcake. That was unintentional, but I do think it's kind of cute. So she has these little curly space buns, or maybe pigtail buns you would call them. And I gave her some brown hair just to, you know, have a couple normal colors of hair. So I just finished coloring her with this bright orange cardigan and yellow t-shirt underneath. And now we're moving on to the last hairstyle, where I found a picture on Pinterest of this girl with these crazy buns, I guess you would just call them, all around her head. And she was making this little fish face. And I was like, I need to draw that. So here we are. I gave the girl yellow hair because I felt like we needed some more colors in here. The girl in the picture didn't have yellow hair, but you know, she just seemed like she would look good with yellow. So coloring in her shirt with this kind of magenta color. I gave her these little star stickers on her face because she just looked like she needed some more accessories, some little heart earrings, and she's given a winking face. Once I finished coloring in all of the hairstyles and the girls' faces, I was pretty happy with how it turned out. I feel like the colored pencils were really nice to blend out all the different shades that are in the hairs. And I think the hairstyles that I picked are pretty fun. And here is the completed page. And now we're moving on to the next prompt, which says, create a wish. Draw your perfect cake complete with candles and make a wish on each flame you draw. So I started off using these new Art X markers that I got, and I have to say I absolutely love them. I am a, big stan of Posca markers, but these were so fun to use because they're kind of like a brush tip, and they're not entirely as opaque as a Posca marker. But the reason that I really love them is because of the fact that they don't chew up the paper, especially if you're using a really thin, maybe not super high quality paper like the paper in this book. They also have a lot more colors. And one other thing as well, they don't explode. You won't see any giant paint splatter on my drawing. These markers are always loaded up with paint. unlike a Posca marker where after you use it for a little while, it starts to get dry and then you gotta push the tip in and risk ruining your entire drawing, which we saw in my previous video. If you watched my last Create This Book video, I did have a situation like that. And I typically do about every single time that I use Posca markers and never learn my lesson, but that's okay because now I have these and I really like them. Like, I had to do a couple layers to really get the opacity that I wanted, but it was fine. They were a joy to use. I really liked them. As for blending, they were a little bit trickier than Posca markers, I'll be honest, because it seems like with Posca markers, the paint sits on the surface of the paper for a little while longer, where these kind of dry, like not instantly, but almost instantly. So you can see I keep going back and forth here, trying to blend the dark pink and the light pink to create some shadows, but it never really worked perfectly. I ended up using my finger to blend a little bit of the paints together, but these are not the best if you're trying to have like a seamless airbrushed gradient effect. But making graphic art and stuff that is not super blended, these are amazing. They're really, really fun to use. So now that I'm done rambling about my new art supplies, I can actually tell you what the heck I'm drawing. So right now I'm working on a picture of a cake that says "Good luck, babe," because I am obsessed with Chapel Roan lately. And I was trying to think of a cute message to put on the cake, and I figured, well, if you're wishing someone good luck, you might give them a cake. So I put the lyrics "Good luck, babe" on it, and I gave it this little red and pink kind of Valentine's themed color scheme. And for the text, I chose to do kind of a tattoo font that I found online. I don't know why, but it just felt right. And I really like the pink and black together. Please don't mind the fact that my letters are not perfectly lined up at all. I tried to make some guidelines for myself, but they're still crooked. So, you know, I did the best I could. I'm not very good with having a steady hand, but you can read it, and that's all that matters. So you'll notice I didn't put any candles on this cake, even though that's what the prompt says to do. But I just decided to put a candle on the cake next to this one because I felt like this one needed some sparkles. Now, I contemplated for a really long time about whether or not I wanted to add a black outline to this cake or just leave it the way it was. Ultimately, I did decide to outline it with black. I don't know if it was the right move. You can let me know in the comments below if you like it better with the black outline or without. I'm still kind of undecided. I feel like I don't hate the black outline, but I don't know if it would have looked better without it. So yeah, so I went around everything with the black. I couldn't help myself. And then to finish it off, I colored in the background of this page with the black paint marker as well. And then we moved on to the next cake. So for this next cake, I decided to use a bit more of a pastel color scheme. This cake was inspired by a picture of a cake that I found on Pinterest, but I did change some things up, like the colors of the cake and the toppings with the strawberries on top. I decided to just add one candle to the top of this cake instead of adding a bunch of candles because I felt like there was a lot going on, and adding too many candles might have made this a little too busy with all of the strawberries and the piping details. For the most part, I did okay drawing the piping, I feel like, but right here, I completely messed up the pattern and didn't realize. So basically the pattern is supposed to be like curved upwards and then curved downwards, alternating back and forth, but we have two downturned curves. So that really bothered me at the end, but I can't really do anything about it. So we're just gonna embrace it and pretend that I did that on purpose. Here I am putting down a base color for the strawberries at the top of the cake. And I added some green for the leaves. I approached the piping pretty similarly to how I drew the piping on the other cake. So I just started off by filling in the large oval shapes or circle shapes, and then adding detail on top of those layers once they were dry. Here you can see me trying to do some more blending, even though I had a failed attempt on the other cake. I feel like this blended a little bit better, but it still wasn't really as good as blending with Posca markers. So here I am outlining the candle on top of the cake. It kind of got in the way of the words on the prompt, but it's alright, you can still read it. I tried to add some shading to the strawberries at the top of the cake as well, just to help them stand out from one another. So because I only had one shade of red in this Art X markers pack, I did supplement and use a maroonish colored Posca marker to darken the edges between the strawberries where they touch. And then I used some pink and the red again to blend it out and add some highlights. Then I used this white to draw a suggestion of strawberry seeds, but I did dab the surface with my finger afterwards because it was a little bit too in your face. Then I went around the cake and colored the background in black for this one as well. I just thought it would make the whole page look a little bit more cohesive. I did color around the words though, so that you could still see the prompt. And then I used my fine liner to trace all of my lines again, just to make this look a little bit more cohesive with the cake on the right. Just adding some finishing touches. And here are the completed pages together. I think they look really nice. I think they could also look really nice as stickers, but I don't know yet. We'll see. Maybe that'll be a project for the future. And with that, we have reached the end of today's video. So we created buttons, we created a wish, and we created a hairstyle. I just want to say thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Hello art friends, my name is Scribbles. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe.